You, out of fear, putting things in place to prevent the thing that you can't control. I got news for you, honey. I don't want to be triggered. I don't want to be triggered. I want to be healed.
Insecurity is not a function of what you have. It's a derivative of what your identity is secured to. And if your identity is secured to an insecure foundation, which is anything that's subject to another person's approval or assessment of value, you will be insecure. And it was in that moment that I realized that everything I had meant nothing because I had secured my identity to the very thing that didn't matter, which was the approval of man. And I think many of us struggle with insecurity because we want so badly to be valued by man without realizing we were created with priceless value from the beginning.
Hi and welcome back to my YouTube channel. If this is your first time, my name is Matime, and this channel is dedicated to makeup, hair and lifestyle. And if that's your thing, please do join the Reisons family by clicking the subscribe button down below. And those of you that are returning, my lovely supporters, thank you so much. I see your love, I see appreciation, and thank you so much for sticking around and clicking on this video. So in today's video, this is going to be like a get ready with me type of conversational chit chat, and we are going to tackle a topic of, I'm currently on a journey of healing. I'm on a healing journey of overcoming or conquering insecurities in all aspects, relationship wise, and relationship not just romantic wise, like any kind of relationship, along with career and stuff, where because of the traumas, and maybe I also don't want to use that word loosely, but I also understand that it's true also for those people that suffered traumas that created a self-preservation habit. When it translates to behavior, it manifests as insecurities. And I just want to start up this conversation with the hopes that it will lead to an introspection and plant a seed of a journey to healing the insecurity, because coping with the insecurities is not an answer for me, because it hurts the people around us if we don't really heal it. And I feel like that's so abusive and unfair, where something you have internalized is translating into a behavioral habit that affects the people you interact with. That is abusive, and those people don't have anything to do with those traumas, so it's directed at the wrong people. They didn't create those traumas for you, so carrying on like that is very unfair and abusive to me. So yeah, I really didn't prepare in terms of point form how I'm going to structure the topic, but anyway, let's start with the makeup. All right, so in terms of my experience, right, they are, for me, the insecurity that I'm experiencing are both in my work and in my relationships. And okay, let's start with the work one, like the work insecurity. So for a long time I struggled. I did share a video about how my testimony video, I'll link it down below for those that haven't seen it, where I was basically tackling how for a very long time I've been struggling with acquiring my undergrad degree, and it is it is making me insecure, because I find myself doubting a lot about whether, if I'm struggling with this, am I capable, am I skilled enough to enter the workforce and truly perform to the best of my ability the tasks that I'll be given if I can't complete this task of completing this degree. So that is, I guess you can say, the trauma that I have identified that is affecting my behavior in a form of insecurity. So what that looks like on a day-to-day is, okay guys, I'm gonna finish my eyebrows and then come and complete the conversation. So with my work, right, that there is because I doubt myself a lot. So statistics people like to say that in life there is it is unattainable to consistently attain like 100% rate of anything, because if there is, then there wouldn't be a need for statistics. Basically, that's how they I don't want to say justify their profession, but that they allude to. We have to calculate, and the part of the reason we have to calculate is we have to apportion, and if everything or anything was like 100%, it doesn't need apportioning, and therefore there wouldn't be a need for statistics. So much like with anything, any task that you are given, you really can't perform like 100%. You can't be sharp 100%. And I'm also going to quote Dr. Anita Phillips. Okay, I don't want to categorize her, but from what I know, Dr. Anita is a psychologist, a clinical psychologist that is also a preacher. Like, she's a preacher like that. She once said that, with we like to say as a community or as society that, I want to give 100% to my job, I want to give 100% to my kids or my family, and I want to give 100% to this is us discussing like balance and stuff. We feel like we ideally would like to give every aspect of our lives 100%, but that's not mathematics, right? Mathematics is you apportion. The maximum is 100% of what you can give. So if you say you want to give 100%, it's unrealistic. You have to put 50% of my time I want to spend it with family. Okay, generally 50% is like work and stuff. So 50% is work, a portion 20% to children or family, another 20 or 10% to friends, and another 10 or 5% to your alone time. And it just speaks to how we would feel sucky about not performing at our level a bit. Okay, personally, the insecurity for me is I feel like I have to prove that I'm and this is within me. Like, nobody is telling me this. This is the insecurity. This is what I'm telling myself, that I need to really outperform everybody else, and subconsciously I'm doing it so I can prove to myself and whoever is watching or whoever I feel is judging me for not having this degree, I want to prove to them that I'm capable. Therefore, overworking yourself and feeling psyche at the slightest mistake that you do, but forgetting that nobody can never not make a mistake on anything. You are going to make a mistake, and the mistake is not an indication of whether or not you're capable. The mistake is evidence of you being a human, right? And many times, I say this is an insecurity because the feedback that you would get from the people, well, personally at work, it's much more positive than what I'm thinking. I'm horrible. I'm a horrible employee. I don't do what I'm supposed to do. I could be doing better. And the feedback is just the opposite of what I'm feeling. Then you realize that this thing is, I've internalized it, and it's how I'm experiencing. And then I would fail to recognize and really in a very relaxed, peaceful state, just, be okay with the current situation, whether at that time is that you've made a mistake, whether at that time is you feel like, okay, I think I've grasped what I'm supposed to do and what is expected of me. So personally for me with work, that is what my struggle is. And I just have to catch myself, especially because you feel so dumb now when the feedback is the opposite of what you thought you were putting in. And okay, maybe not dumb, and you feel like you've wasted all that, like you were anxious for nothing. you are anxious for nothing, and it's just being anxious, guys, it's so exhausting. Like it carries so much. It's heavy. It's heavy to constantly be in a state of believing that you are not doing good enough and that you have to do more than what you are currently doing. So now you just feel like, oh my gosh, this feedback, what a waste of energy. This is me to myself when what a waste of energy of thinking that I'm incapable. Meanwhile, it's all good, you know? This relationship is very personal, because I feel like I can't really give too many examples because it involves other people, and I feel like I don't want to overindulge because other people are implicated, and this is I want to share, and this is but maybe I'll try to just be as general as I can, right? So with relationships, like this can be childhood traumas, like upbringing, where most of what happened to us when we were younger created scars or wounds that we subconsciously decided when those things were happening how we were going to act moving forward. And now my aunt likes to say the impact of trauma, you see it in behavior, and most of the behaviors we've attached it to, oh no, this is just how I am. But if you dig deeper and you're like, why am I like this? Especially, okay, personally, for me, I am able to, like when I introspect, right? It's easy for me to introspect and get to the root of things when there's fear attached. So you create boundaries based off of that fear that what happened to you will happen. And I've just been struggling with that, and I think it's okay to be like cautious and stuff. I'm realizing that you are imprisoned by your fear. If there's certain things in your life that you don't want to do, you don't want to have, or you move a certain way because you fear that what traumatically happened to you will also happen if you don't do those things. But we know the reality is the same trauma you experienced, somebody else may have experienced under different circumstances. The reality is there's nothing you can do to truthfully prevent bad things from happening. You know, personally for me, I'd rather let go and trust God to facilitate the minimization of traumatic experiences to my future kids or even myself or family relatives and stuff, either than trying to put certain boundaries in place to prevent A, B, and C from happening. Because the truth of the matter is there are certain things where I put in place and they still happened anyway. It's just you don't have control of the people you are exposed to, the people, strangers. You don't have control of what the other person is gonna do. If you can't stop it anyway, regardless of whatever measures you put in place, rather just let it go and let God just do his thing. Yeah, so basically that's what I've just been thinking about, or kind of the realizations that I'm having regarding insecurities and stuff. That you, out of fear, putting things in place to prevent the thing that you can't control. I got news for you, honey. It ain't it. I'd rather be freed and healed from the trauma. I'd rather be healed and freed from the impact. And another thing that I learned, guys, is that with traumas, and I have been saying this for the past few months, that healing from the pain of trauma, and there's also healing from the impact the trauma had on your behavior. And those are two different healings, personally, in my journey, where I found that healing from the pain is when I can speak about it without shedding a tear, and I don't feel the pain I used to feel whenever I used to speak about it previously. But the impact, now here you have it's healing, tackling behavioral habits that you have adopted for most of your life if it's a childhood trauma, and if it's not most of your life, for for a very, normally it's usually a long period of time, because if you're only making the realization now, it means for the past 2-3 years you've adopted this thing, and now you have to unlearn it in the name of being free from how the trauma imprisoned you. And it's so unfair also on yourself, because you you create these habits from you being a victim of trauma. And I feel that it's sometimes so unfair for me to process, because I'm like, I didn't even create this for myself, and now I have to charge myself to heal these things, So I hope you guys have kind of learned a thing or two, and some seed was planted in, and my hope is that the seed is planted for you to get true healing, not just temporary coping mechanism where I don't want to be triggered, guys. Like, I don't want to be triggered. I don't want to be triggered. I want to be healed. I want to be healed. Like, and I'm going to use maybe a very limited and not a true representation, but physical wounds, right? You get a wound, you get a scar, and the scar, when you press on it, like after it has healed and it has become a scar, most of the time, especially our childhood scars, most of the time, if you press on the scar, there's no physical pain that reminds your body of the pain you felt when it was still a wound. And I feel like I want the same for my emotional wounds or emotional scars or whatever, because I feel like now it's still a wound if I'm triggered and I still feel some sort of pain that is limited. No, man, I want to press on that emotional scar and not feel anything, and that is just my prayer, and I hope that seeds that is planted with this conversation, that the same is true for you guys. So I'm just going to quickly finish my makeup. I'm running ridiculously late, but yeah, I'll come back with the final look. Okay, so this is the final look that I'm going for, and yeah, so basically, just to close off the whole video, I pray that we start introspecting about our traumas and just assessing them, to be careful to not have them control us, because we have mastered it as caution, we have mastered it as being wiser, but if it's from a place of fear, then you are still in bondage to the trauma. And I pray true healing, like the example I gave. With a physical wound, if you press on your childhood scars, there's no physical pain. And I pray that with our emotional wounds and scars as well, that when we press on that scars, that we are so healed to the point of not being triggered. That's how it's going to manifest. But yeah, anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching. I love you guys so much. Thank you so much for giving me this moment. Yeah, to healing, to wholeness, to love, peace, and joy. I truly wish all of these things become evident and abundant in your life. And I love you guys so much. I pray the love of Christ flows through you and within you. And yeah, till next time, I love you guys so much. Bye.